All right, guys, welcome to the show. Different type of show, very special show. This is JE Live mixed with Downtown Rams, the podcast. My co-host Lexus Kraft is here, and we are joined by Rams preseason star quarterback over here, Bryce Perkins. He's been on our show twice, so we're really excited to have him back on. Bryce, how the hell are you, man? Welcome back.
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me back. It's always love when I'm on the show. So thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. It's funny. I just was listening to our old interview. You had a bit more hair the last time we saw you.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Alexis asked you last question of that interview was, what are you bringing in the Rams? And basically you just said, I'm bringing, hard work. You're going to be a hard worker and somebody that, the fans can root for and a nice person. And I think you fit the bill pretty well there, my guy.
Yeah, I try to be as transparent with who I am, on and off camera. So that's good. I mean, I'm glad that I was able to keep going in that direction.
For sure. Well, like Jake said, we're very excited to have you back. You've been on the show before. We're both huge fans. And a lot of Rams fans are huge fans of yours, just based off what Jake and I are seeing off of this preseason. We're always on Twitter during the games, talking to people. And there was a moment in I believe the first preseason game, there was a hurdle that really caught everyone's attention. And I know I audibly out loud was cheering to the point where people who weren't watching the game, who were in the same house as me, were like, "What's going on?" And I literally was like, "There's a hurdle. It's fine. I'm okay." It was really exciting. And I'm sure that you've gotten a lot of comments about that already.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was something that was kind of very exciting. I got text messages through the whole night, and the next day, just all over from California all the way back to Virginia. Yeah, so that was definitely one of those plays that kind of built up buzz, and it was very exciting.
Yeah, you blew me away with that. Although you did that in college. So the people that didn't see the film, I do remember you doing that in college a couple times. You had one guy was running right at you in the middle of the field. You just jumped over him. But this guy wasn't exactly diving at you. You almost jumped over a guy who was entirely standing up. So that was the real impressive thing there. But we talked to you before, you joined the league, and then again, right after the Rams signed you, as an undrafted rookie free agent. What has this journey, been, doing all of everything, going through the process of last season, not having a preseason, and having to really make every single rep in practice and training camp and mini camp count, as to now where, you spent time on the practice squad last year. Now you're trying to make the 53 yet again.
Yeah, I mean, last year was definitely a really patient game that I had to play. Without preseason, kind of just had to sit back and utilize the practice reps and the two scrimmages we had last year during August training camp to really kind of, sharpen what I need to sharpen and continue to grow. And then from there, throughout the season, it was really watching and seeing how last year was John and Jared, how they operated going into the games, the day before the game, how they prepared, just seeing small, fine details about how they prepare for everything and just trying to, look at it and be like, okay, this is a pro's pro. This is how you go about handling your business, and try to apply that to my everyday life. Even though I wasn't getting the reps, even though I wasn't playing the game, I would still go back home after practice and go through, what we talked about and go through the game plan and try to be as sharp, because coach does a great job of, even though you're not playing, asking you questions about the game plan. So I always wanted to be sharp on that, and just watching how they went about it really helped me for this year. And now that preseason happened and I was able to play in some games, I found myself doing a lot of those similar habits that they did throughout the season, which really helped, my game as well, because it allowed me to be more comfortable back there and play a lot faster and play looser and just go out there and make plays.
Yeah, and speaking of, last year, there wasn't a preseason last year. So I'm curious about, from a player standpoint, what are the pros and cons of having a preseason versus not having a preseason? I assume it's a major difference, kind of in preparation for the season.
Yeah, I mean, practice is good. There's something different, the different element about actually playing the game when there's fans or you're in the stands and other players from different teams have to try to tackle you and actually have to tackle you, opposed to, um, my first year we just scrimmaged ourselves and it was kind of just, it was good competition, but it is noticeably different when you get out there and you actually have to perform against guys that are really trying to take your head off. For guys like me trying to make the team and other guys, a lot of guys around the league, it's essential for us because we're not only trying to make the team, but we're also auditioning for 31 other teams out there, trying to, make our mark in the league that shows other teams that we can play and we belong here. And for guys that, kind of have solidified spots, it can get risky. As you've seen a couple of injuries throughout this preseason, the guys that were big time guys that were due for a breakout year. But that's always a hard line to kind of navigate because on one hand you want to stay healthy, but on the other hand you want to get guys reps, live reps before the actual season and everything like that. So that's the tricky part for some guys, but for guys like me and so many other guys out there trying to make teams, it's crucial and important. And a lot of guys that I've talked to said that if it wasn't for preseason, they probably wouldn't even be here. And I know a lot of guys last year didn't get the opportunity that got released from teams that definitely could have benefited if they had a preseason last year.
I think you said that very well. There are a lot of players, I think, that, and also, I mean, you don't have to say anything on this, but the roster shouldn't be 53. There, how many jobs would you create if you just added 7 more to a roster? I've never liked the 53-man roster. I've never thought that was the greatest number ever. But look, you looked incredibly poised under pressure, and you were pressured a lot. You went up against Von Miller yesterday. I mean, a guy that's, been phenomenal in his career, going to be a Hall of Famer someday in all likelihood, with no prior NFL preseason before this year. And on top of that, very little to no scouting scout team work from what I was told. So how did you manage to keep yourself as locked in as you did? Because you looked like, as McVay would call it, a pro's pro.
Yeah, definitely film, really being dialed in and to the game plan and looking at the script and going like really mentally rehearsing those plays over and over and over and really visualizing, okay, we have this play on. Okay, what if I get this defense? Okay, what if I get this pressure? What if I get this defense? And kind of because you're not getting those field reps in practice, you kind of have to find out little things, tricks and tips that can help you translate when you get to the field. And obviously, it's never going to be the same as actually getting practice, but simulating those different looks in your head and pressures to those different plays can help you. It definitely helped me when I got out there and kind of watch everything played out in real time, and then just going out there and not really being afraid of making mistakes. A lot of guys out there for the first time, just flying around and mistakes are going to come, and when you're not thinking about the mistakes, it definitely allows you to play faster and more efficient because you're just going out there. At the end of the day, it's football. You've been playing it your whole life. And when you start making the moment or like the game bigger than what it actually is, and that's when you kind of, the greater you think about the game, like the slower and at times the more critical impact it can have negatively on your game. So you kind of have to just go out there, have fun, and I definitely do a lot of breathing exercises before to kind of get my mind in a calm state that allows me to just go out there and have fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely helpful. That's something that I've done as well. Back when I used to play soccer was something that me and some of my teammates did. But Jake mentioned earlier Von Miller, and you played against a lot of really talented players in the 3 preseason games. Is there any one player, maybe a couple players that stood out to you as kind of giving you the biggest challenge and kind of giving you a hard time a little bit?
I can't say one player because I can't even remember. Like, when I'm out there, everything's flying around. And I wasn't really too keen to who was out there. I mean, except for Von Miller, because he's, I think, probably the biggest name I played this preseason. So just always aware of where he was. But every team kind of just had some of the stuff that they did that made it challenging, and made me really have to figure out, okay, how I'm gonna get at this, or what to do, and it made me think and actually play the quarterback in the position in my mind. Pre-snap and trying to get things figured out, and then post-snap trying to get things figured out. So I can't say one player or one team in particular, but I do remember seeing Von Miller and close to me a couple of times, after the ball was gone. So he's a great player, and for us to go against the starting defense, the Broncos, for maybe 3 drives, I think that was really good for us, getting first team reps against the first team, and being able to move the ball at times, really showed just how locked in and as a group we were.
Absolutely. And you developed definitely a noticeable rapport with Tutu Atwell, the second round rookie. And this is not to knock you, of course, because I feel like you did a great job of spreading the ball around to JJ Koski and Tristan Jackson and Jacob Harris here and Bryson Hopkins. By the way, when you throw to him, it makes it really hard. Bryson Hopkins and Bryce Perkins, man, the confusion there. But my point is basically you spread the ball around a lot. However, it was pretty obvious that you really did like throwing to Tutu Atwell. He was open. He was creating separation, what have you. What do you feel like he brings to the table for this team? And how do you feel, that connection came to be?
Yeah, I mean, Tutu's a great player. I remember when we played Louisville, and he was eating us up my senior year, and everything like that. But he's so quick and fast that he creates separation so easily without even trying. So, like, throwing to him, you're going to have a 4 to 5 yard cushion, window a lot of times, just because how fast he is out of the breaks. And that's kind of how it was and consistent through OTAs too. You're just noticing how easily he got off, hands on, and how easily he separated from people. That makes it a lot easier. So you're not really tight on, ball placement. You trying to just throw it out there. And because he has so much space, he kind of adjusts how it needs to be and everything like that. So, that's definitely a quarterback's best friend. And also, his arms are really long. Like, he's not super tall, but his arms are lengthy. So his catch radius is also, very, very large for him being, that small. And so you combine those two, the speed and the arm length. That's a quarterback's best friend right there.
For sure. And again, kind of back to like the preseason vibe, since there wasn't a preseason last year, just for you personally, is there anything that you feel that you've really improved on since preseason last year, since the fans didn't really get to watch games and compare what was going on last year to this season? Is there anything personally that you feel that you've really developed and are happy to see that you've improved at?
Yeah, I feel like I'm seeing the field a lot better. Just noticing, when I'm back there, I feel like I know, I have a better understanding of what's going on. Last year, I was pretty solid at that, but I feel like I made a big jump this year, and we'll continue to make a jump and everything like that, regards to, post snap and pre snap, getting better at pressures, getting the line, in different directions that can prevent, a free runner in the face. But yeah, I think seeing the field, I really do. I feel like I did a great job of seeing the field and not putting the ball in jeopardy too many times and giving guys good opportunities to make plays.
Now, Bryce, I have to ask you because everyone was wondering. Obviously Jalen took 5, so you didn't have 5 anymore. You went to 16. What made you choose Jared Goff's old number?
I didn't choose.
Oh, you didn't choose?
No, yeah. So it was one of those things that he just told me, he said, "Hey, you changed the number to 16." And I was like, "Okay." I mean,
Hey, it looks good, man.
Yeah,
it looks good.
I mean, yeah. It wasn't that, I didn't have like a big consternation about it. I just, like I said, all right, I'm just happy to have a number, and we'll see from here. What happens if I decide to change it, or not. Maybe keep it. But
could be worse. Belichick has his guys wearing 50s. You don't want to trot out number 50 out there.
Yeah, man. And I remember and at UVA, we had some quarterbacks wearing 90s in the 90s and 30s, and yeah. So I mean, I guess you make the number that make you. So I put the number on, and I'm not even aware of the number when I put it on. I just go out there and play. So. But it did make it a lot easier for people that already had jerseys just to put Perkins on the back. I saw that a few times.
That actually is true. That is very true. Very convenient. But you told us last time that we spoke that Kevin O'Connell was a big reason, as well as the system itself, that you decided to join the Rams. So now, joining, or I guess going into the second offseason, do you feel that you've solidified kind of that choice, that you made the right decision now that you've kind of been here a couple of seasons? Do you feel, that was the best decision for the time?
Yeah, most definitely. I think regardless of what happens here in the next couple of days, my growth in the development is a huge part due to, Coach O'Connell. I told him after the game, I said, I don't grow unless I'm with you. So he did a great job of really developing me, and gave me things that I can take for here on out and apply those to my everyday practice, if I do end up somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, great coach, great person. And that's kind of what you're looking for as a QB coach, someone that's a good person, but also is knowledgeable and can coach you the right way. It's not just enough to know how, but how can you translate the teachings of how it should be done to somebody? And, he does a great job of translating that to me. It may be different from me to John, from John to Matthew. And he does a good job of, kind of getting it in terms and the best way that we understand. So, yeah, definitely the right choice.
Yeah, I was really glad, when the Rams acquired him, because he was with, at the time, the Redskins, now the Washington football team. And I just watched, the way he interacted with, Dwayne Haskins. And just, it seemed to me like Haskins was really starting to have some confidence towards the end of that season. And then when they got rid of him, all of a sudden, he struggled. And I kept saying, over and over again, I'm like, this guy isn't a bust. I think he was really finding his stride with O'Connell, and they didn't opt to bring him back. And, sure enough, you kind of just, threw it out there. I mean, he's been really good for your development, and he's a really good coach. With that said, though, what other coaches have you worked with the most since you've joined the LA Rams?
So assistant quarterback coach, Zach Robertson, and Liam last year. He's not with Kentucky, but Z-Rob, he's assistant quarterback coach. He was a receivers coach last year, or assistant receivers coach last year. He's a huge part too. He played a game. He played at Oklahoma State, and he can still sling it.
Remember watching him play?
Yeah, I remember. I told Zero, I said, hey, you sling it better than a lot of guys in the league. But he's been a big help too. I mean, just little things here and there. while practice is going on, Kevin's so locked in. When Matthew and John is going, I'll sneak off and Zero. We will talk for like a little bit here and there about different things that happened, play before, or even an individual. He'll come up to me like, "Hey, try this," or different things like that, just real subtly. And it's been a huge helping hand having him there too. Um, someone else I can lean on and rely on for help.
Yeah, and just thinking of all the guys that you've been able to meet so far, just playing on the Rams, players wise, are there any guys, and maybe this isn't exclusive to the quarterback position? I mean, obviously, I'm sure Matthew Stafford and John Wolford are guys who, you've kind of spoken with, and they've, mentored you at the quarterback position for sure, and you've done everything you can to learn from them. But are there other guys on the team as well who you feel that you've kind of created a bond with, and you go to and look at as a mentor or someone who can teach you a lot about being in the NFL?
Really, I mean, a lot of guys that I talked to are from my class, but I definitely noticed. I think one of the players I noticed just how he goes about every day is definitely Jalen Ramsey. How he and I tell people this all the time. How he practices is 100% every time. And I remember last year, he would take reps with the scout team defense just to get extra work in. And a guy like that, as a young guy, you see that, okay, this is how you practice. This is why he is great. Like everything that it's not just he going out there in game day. He's smart as a whip, and he puts in the effort, in the little details in practice, and he takes it serious. I mean, he's upset, when something bad happens in practice, but just watching him, and just seeing the huge difference, saying, okay, like who he is, and why he's a top corner, and you just look at his practice habits and say, okay, that is exactly why. So, you know, that definitely puts in perspective of who you have to be and what you have to become in order to be who you want to be.
I mean, it's, a great point. And, talking about practice, I mean, you made the practice squad last year. I didn't think you were going to make it, to be honest with you. I think the Rams got lucky. There was no preseason last year. That's what happened, because you would have been scooped up. But, making the practice squad last year, spending some time on there, what were your takeaways from that moment? Because I know, it's not obviously the same as being on the 53, but you're in the building, you're around, you're able to kind of learn a little bit, be able to, develop. What were your biggest takeaways from, being on the practice squad last year?
Yeah. Outside of even just football, just learning how to be grateful for where you at. It's never where you're at the moment is never where you're going to be forever. So you just have to find kind of a moment of gratitude in the little things that you do, because it can always be worse. And as players, we want to play, we want to be out there, we want to be the guy. A lot of guys come from college who was a star coming to the NFL and maybe not be the star. Same way at every level, high school to college to NFL. Some guys are, some guys aren't. And 16 weeks is a long time, and really, just finding your happiness in the sport every day, finding gratitude in the little things, at the same time trying to doing everything to keep your skills sharpened, because you can sit around and complain about where you're at the moment, but that's not doing anything to help your situation. And what I feel is I'm gonna do little things here that's gonna lead up to my opportunity. I'm gonna be happy, be grateful, be happy for other guys when they make their plays, because we're all gonna get our opportunity, whether it be in preseason, whether it be in a practice, a scout team rep where you make a big play and now coaches are looking at you like, okay, maybe we need this guy on the field. One way or another, your opportunity is going to come, and when you're in a state of mind of actually really being happy and really loving just the whole process, when the opportunity comes, it's going to be it's going to be your time, and you're going to seize the moment. So definitely, man, patience and gratitude in everything that I do.
For sure. You know, and kind of in closing, I think there's a little under 48 hours now until the 53-man rosters are announced for the entire league. So just kind of, you know, approaching that deadline. You kind of just hinted at it there, but is there any kind of final thoughts that you have now that preseason's over? I'm sure you're very excited for the season to start, you know, anxious to see what that might bring. But, you know, just kind of what's your mindset going into these next 48 hours?
Man, love the process and know whatever happens, you know, not only me, but like you'll be able to handle that situation accordingly. Don't think too much about it right now. You know, when it comes, figure out what you need to do, figure out, you know, all right, what's the next steps from here, and move forward from there. But you know, look upon the good, you know, look upon the good plays you put in preseason, you know, learn from the bad plays, and seek to become a better player. That's what I'm doing. You know, I'm still learning, and I look at this preseason as things that, you know, recognizable things that I need to get better at, that I will get better at, and you know, from there on, we'll see what happens, and everything like that. So, yeah.
Well, regardless of what happens, whether you're on the Rams 53, the Rams practice squad, or another team, we're a fan of yours, and we're going to keep rooting for you no matter what. You know, big fans of your game, but, you know, big fan of you as a person. And just the fact that you've come on our show now 3 times, which I think ties the most of any player that we've had on here. Maybe you actually are the longest. I don't know. I'll have to check that. But, you know, we really do appreciate it, Bryce, to see you, you know, yesterday in Denver playing against Von Miller, and to have you on the show the next day is just, it's surreal, honestly, for us. So, you know, we really do appreciate it. And, you know, it's not something that we take lightly. We know how busy you are. We know what you're doing. So, you know, again, it truly means a lot that you wanted to come on tonight.
Thank y'all for having me. Always, it's love.
Absolutely. So that's going to wrap it up. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. For Jake Ellenbogen, Alexis Kraft, and Bryce Perkins, this has been the Downtown Rams and JE Live show. And we'll see you guys soon.